In this video, we are going to be reviewing Coming Home from 1978, which stars Jane Fonda, Bruce Dern, and Jon Voight, and was directed by Hal Ashby. Is it a movie, or is it a film, or is it both? Let's find out right now.
Give me a movie to eat popcorn to.
Okay, so they got to be emotional, they got to be thought-provoking.
I'm a little more middle of the road than that. I appreciate all kinds of film.
I also am a lover of all types of movies. We are Movie versus Film, a film education and film review channel. My name is Robert Bellissimo. I am the film guy.
I'm Steve Chambers. I'm the movie guy, man. Come on. Come on. Film.
And if this is
Look at
your
his scarf, people.
And if this is your first time here, or if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to our channel by clicking on the subscribe button, which you can find in the bottom right of your screen, and then click the bell in order to get a notification every time we release a new video or go live. So here we go. Let's take a look at just a general plot here according to IMDb. So they has here a woman whose husband is fighting in Vietnam, falls in love with another man who suffered a paralyzing combat injury there. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the gist of it. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I would say this film very much is character-driven in that it goes in depth into exactly what IMDb wrote. So, is this a film according to my scorecard? So I'm just going to get the scorecard up. There we go. And now let's take a look at each point. So we have complexity, emotional, strong acting, ambiguous, and life questions. And I'm definitely going to give it all 5 coffee cups. So we have complexity. Well, I mean, the film itself it's very character driven. And as much as it is about the nature of what war does to soldiers and, you know, your loved ones at home, I think it's very much about growth and growing up and coming into your own. And every single, particularly we have Bruce Dern's character, Jon Voight's character, and Jane Fonda's character, who go through so much in this movie. You know, they're both very much grew up in army bases and were very patriotic and wanted to get out to Vietnam to become heroic and do the right thing. And this is going to be great. And of course, that gets shattered and their whole identity is lost, and they suffer with consequences that they have to face for the rest of their lives. And Jane Fonda's character, to me, was the most interesting because she had never lived alone before. She was seen as like the soldier's wife, and all of a sudden she's working. She's volunteering at a hospital. She's seeing the horrors of what the vets are going through. She falls in love with Jon Voight's character, and she doesn't want to. I think it really goes into the complexity of love, because, you know, she doesn't want to cheat, but, you know, she can't help but fall for this guy and acts on it. So it really is, and then she still wants to end it once her Bruce Dern comes back. So it really is these growing pains and having to live with things you've done that you didn't think would be this horrific. It's very, very much around these 3 people, and it's just really, really fascinating. Emotional. I definitely give it emotional because, like, just to elaborate on my point of what these people are going through is it's hard to watch, and it's sad. And I think everyone has this idea about what their life is going to be, and a lot of the time it doesn't always work out that way. And I think in this case it happens to be war in their case, but it can be anyone's dreams can be shattered. And so it really plays on both of those things, and I think a lot of people can relate to it as such. So I really felt for all the people, which ties into my next point, which, of course, strong acting, definitely. Everything I'm describing, it takes really great actors to do that. And God, Bruce Dern, especially, I saw this only once before, years ago, before I watched it again the other night, and he's always the one I remember the most. He just seems so, just his expressions on his face say so much. He looks like he's just so conflicted and in so much pain, even when he's not saying a word. Just his stillness, and that scene with Jane Fonda when his line is, I do not belong here. It just comes out of him like a lion. It's so out of his gut. And Jon Voight as well. I mean, you see him off the top, a very angry guy, and he's in the hospitals and he's hitting canes on the walls and he's screaming at people. But then I think he looks inside of himself and he calms down. He accepts what he did. He accepts that now he's in a wheelchair. And of course, that monologue at the end where he's talking to all the high school students about, he wouldn't recommend any of them go off to war because it's not what they think. And he really gets emotional as he fights through it. Jane Fonda as well. We see such a journey that is really remarkable. Of course, they both won Oscars, Jane Fonda and Jon Voight. I am giving it the ambiguous coffee cup. And what's ambiguous about it is more in terms of Jane Fonda. Like, I didn't really know how she felt about the war. I mean, I know that she wanted to help the veterans as they were coming back. But every time people are talking about the horrors of war, like when Bruce Dern is talking about the fact that the men he was fighting with wanted to take the heads of the Vietnamese soldiers and put them on sticks. And she's concerned, but was she against? Was she pro? I mean, I think it's likely that she was forming in a against Vietnam perspective. Also, when Jon Voight protests and chains himself up to the fence, that's right after that is when she says, "I want to spend the night with you." So it's not clear. So I think that's really open to interpretation. And even in the end, we see what happens to Bruce Dern. So are Jane Fonda and Jon Voight's character going to be together? I think that's really open to the audience. I think for me, it's definitely highly possible because they had already met under extreme circumstances. They've already gone through a lot. So I think even though now the marriage is, due to the suicide is over, the last shot you see is just Jane Fonda going to buy some food. So it doesn't really end, right? There's no ending. And I think, what's going to happen next? Where are they going to come together or not? So again, that's open to interpretation, but it is ambiguous in that sense. Life questions for sure. I think the questions that it asks are, why do these veterans not get proper care when they get back? I mean, we see in the hospital where Jane Fonda is volunteering that there's not enough room for these people. They didn't expect this many people to come back shot or wounded or half their leg is blown off, and they don't do anything about it. And of course, Jane Fonda has that great scene where she wants to raise money or raise awareness in a newspaper where we need more funding for these veterans, and no one wants to do it. They're interested in just escapism and let's write about the baseball games, and so people feel good. And she just tells them that they all should be ashamed of themselves. So I think those are the biggest questions that's still relevant and that's still going on. So like I said, I give it 5 out of 5 coffee cups according to my scorecard. And Steve, it's over to you for the movie scorecard.
All right, man. So as a movie, the scorecard's a little bit different. We'll talk about that. So on my movie scorecard,
there it is.
On my scorecard, I got to give it all 5.
I'm impressed.
It did all of that. It did all of that. Now, so this is definitely, we got to agree here. It's a film and a movie, But I'm going to take an opportunity just to break it down a little. So, as you did. So coolness, yes, it moved very well. I didn't feel that we were lingering in one space longer than we needed to. I didn't feel, and there's nothing wrong with lingering if the director does it intentionally. But if I feel that time's ticking by, it's not working for me. This didn't do that. Soundtrack, oh my God, I don't know. They must have blown the money. You got the Beatles, you got Steppenwolf, you got Neil Young. Like it's, if I was going to be really picky, it's a lot. Like it just, for me, distracted once in a while. It was a little too like, all right, I get it. It's 1960s. I'm not complaining though. Not since like American Graffiti did I hear that much, that many hit songs, hit after hit throughout the whole film. But
I
it
mean, you had
worked.
everyone, Beatles,
And
Stones,
yeah, the
it's
Beatles. And
incredible.
when the hell are they used in film? And
Yeah.
the music went well with the scenes. I really liked it. Okay. Feel, yes, I was taken into Jane Fonda's world really quickly. I felt her isolation. I really liked her friend Vi, played by Penelope Milford.
I forgot to mention her. Yeah, she was great.
Right away, she did a thing I like when actors do this. I didn't feel like there was this proper formal introduction to her character. She was just there, as though we accidentally spied on her halfway through her day. Like, it was very natural, very comfortable in her own skin. So the feel, like, I guess you could say it's another word for where the performance is good, but I'm not analyzing. If I'm looking at their performance, I don't think it's working. I should just be in there. And these guys brought me in. I wasn't aware. I wasn't thinking, whoa, Jon Voight's a good actor. I thought that later. Okay. If anything, if I was going to be really picky, my heart wasn't quite as pulled by Jon Voight's plight as I think they wanted it to be. I got it. But I wasn't bawling. Could just be me. I could be a cold bastard. I highly doubt it, though.
Come on.
Understandable, clear, intelligible. Yes. But my one thing, if I'm just going to be picky, it still made the point. It's still good. It worked. Don't get me wrong. But as you touched on, like how Jon Voight goes from, he's wheeling around angry, shouting, whatever, hitting people with his cane. Then he's driving a car with a cane and he's fine. I thought that transition was a little jarring. You said, well, he had to look inside himself. Well, I didn't see that. What does that mean? Look inside. It's a movie. You can't tell me someone looked inside themselves. I didn't see the transition. He was just suddenly like, fine. I felt that was a little, I'm just being picky. It still worked, but it was a little too, he jumped from misery to happiness too quick.
I should have probably said, actually, I think it was really because he was falling in love. I think that.
There's definitely that. Definitely she's got him like, giving him a bit of hope.
Because everything is incredible when you feel that way.
Yes, and I would say then we're not relying on looking inside. Again, you can see that. You can see the relationship between the two. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Entertaining, captivating. Absolutely. Again, I got to say, I was eyes glued to the screen the entire time. I didn't really find myself trailing off. So that totally worked. And finally, wow quotient. When it ended, how did I feel? I felt it's not rocky. Let's not get wrong. But I didn't feel it ended perfectly for me. I didn't feel that it should have ended sooner. I didn't think I needed more. It cut to credits and I just felt right. So nailed all 5 points for my movie scorecard. So
amazing.
Yeah, man, it's a film. And
it's a film and
I think you can eat some popcorn to it.
I read some interesting things. Apparently they offered this to Nicholson, Al Pacino.
What year is it? 78?
This is 78, where for the Jon Voight role. And I mean, who knows why they didn't do it? It could be other commitments or
Nicholson
whatever,
with Bruce Dern are too similar to me. Like, they've both got this, come on, this kind of crazy. I'm glad it wasn't Nicholson.
It worked well, though, when in Marvin Gardens, the two of them.
That's right.
Yeah, like that, like Nicholson really.
Fair point.
Yeah. I mean, I think we think of Nicholson that way, like as like Dern, in the sense that he's
explosive.
He's explosive, but he's, I think people forget, like in the early 70s, he did some quiet guys, and I thought, but I don't want to take it away from Voight. I mean, I thought I loved Voight in this. Yeah,
I thought Voight was a good. I really liked his, like I believed him as both a very angry man and as a hippie. And I honestly, just aesthetically, being a movie person, it worked. Just the long hair and the beard. And he's got this like baby face, and he looks sweet, and I worry for him. Like he's got this face. So yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about this. I forget the movie we were talking about, but A Place in the Sun. Like if it wasn't Montgomery Clift, casting is so huge. And it's not to say another actor wouldn't have been as good, and we'll never know. I mean, if Al Pacino were the star of Coming Home, I might right now be going, I can't imagine Jon Voight in it. Who knows?
Right.
Penelope Milford. or
Yeah.
Penelope.
And what happened to her? I
She's
thought
really
that
good.
she was. I thought she was the actor who was in who was De Palma's girlfriend or wife, who was in Blow Up. Sorry, Blow Out.
Blowout, right?
I thought that she looked exactly like her. I was like, that's the woman. And then
Who
I
the
was like,
hell is
oh,
in Blowout?
I
I
forget
haven't
she. And
seen
then
that
she
in
was also
years.
in Dress to Kill.
Oh, I
Uh,
love that
and
one.
and she looks exactly like her. But apparently
Huh.
she wanted Meryl Streep, Jane Fonda, for that part. But she was doing a play at the time. She was already under
So let's
contract.
see. Meryl Streep would have by then done like Deer Hunter.
Yeah,
So another Vietnam movie. Oh,
which was the same year. But
yeah,
I don't
same
know
year.
if who knows if they even knew if she had even shot that yet, or
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
imagine they shot this in '77. So at this
Probably.
point, she hadn't really been in any movies.
No, I
But
think
yeah, I thought
Manhattan with Woody Allen. That was probably her biggest.
yeah, that was '79, right? So that was even
Oh
after
shit, that was
this.
after. My bad.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So yeah, she was great, and I liked that she was someone who wasn't facing everything. I think they were all facing and growing and changing, but her character wasn't. She was really struggling in terms of like, okay, at one point she says she's gonna marry that other guy who's in
Herbie or
Vietnam.
whatever his name was. Yeah.
Yeah, and then right after that, she leaves with those two guys, and then she's stripping in the apartment, and then she starts to
And she
cry. And
finally breaks down. Yeah.
yeah, and even when they're gonna go to Hong Kong, that was for the R and R.
Dink. She was gonna marry
Yeah,
Dink. That's his
that guy, and
name.
she doesn't go.
No.
And I'm working. Like she's someone who was really torn. But I agree. I thought she was great, and she hasn't been in that much stuff, so I don't
No,
know much
I've
about her.
never. I have no idea. I'm sure I've seen. She looked familiar enough that I think I've
That's what.
seen her. But
Yeah, yeah,
right away, man, when she's, right when Bruce Dern's taking off they're in that parking lot, and he leaves to go to Nam, and Jane Fonda clearly doesn't want to be alone and asks
yeah.
Penelope Milford, "Hey, do you want to go get a drink or whatever?" And it's just her face is so real. Like she didn't play. I didn't feel like she was like, no, I'm too cool for school or whatever the hell. She just looked like a human being. And I was just like, she just kind of, and then looked Fonda over and went, you want to come to my house, whatever she said. And right away, I'm like, oh, who the hell is this? She's just captivating to me.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I agree. I
yeah,
agree.
no, it was, I say this in a positive way. It was a lighter experience. Not to say it's a light, fluffy, or bad. I said it. I already said it. It's a really good movie. But it was lighter than I thought, and I'm fine with that. Because I knew the synopsis. Like I'd only just seen it on
Yeah,
Friday. Never seen it
yeah.
before, but I knew of it. Obviously, it's a famous film, known of it for years, and just based on the synopsis and whatever. And I thought like, oh Jesus Christ, this is going to be the heaviest, most gut wrenching. I'm going to want to slit my throat. And it wasn't. Like even the
No, no,
darker,
no.
heavier sscenes
Well, I
were
think it's hope. I think there's
palatable.
hope to it. I mean,
Well, there's a
I
hundred
think,
percent. It's a
yeah,
hopeful film, but I mean, even earlier when it's quote unquote bad, and we're kind of looking at, or you're looking at Bruce Dern going through his sort of PTSD, I guess. It it's intense. Don't get me wrong, but it was much. It was much easier to watch than I thought it might be. The
yeah,
director
yeah, yeah.
Ashby didn't try to make it challenging or different. Like it
There's
was
there's
here.
no war scenes either.
No, there's
You
none. No,
never go to the war,
no.
and
Yet
of course,
I'd still call it a war movie.
yeah, no, for sure, because it's
Yeah,
equally the war at home when they
yeah.
go home and the people
That's
at home,
good
and
point. Yeah,
so they're all connected. But
yeah.
I mean, I think it's essential for everyone to
I agree.
grow in life, and it's just
Yeah,
unfortunate that in their case they had to suffer severe consequences in order to grow out of their
right.
very narrow, naive view of the world. And I don't mean the fact that they're patriotic, but just thinking that going to war and being a hero is what life is all about. I mean, well, it's unfortunate that really Bruce Dern he grows, but then he's what he grew into he hated, and that's ultimately what
And
he.
yeah, and he didn't see.
Yeah,
He knew
yeah,
enough that he wasn't okay. He wasn't right. Oh, he certainly wasn't happy, whatever right means. But he also, it seemed, he knew he couldn't change. I'm not saying I agree or that people can't change. I'm saying his character was so raised into I'm
Yeah,
doing the right thing that, oh God, if I didn't, all my values are incorrect. And
yeah,
I'm not saying that's a good way of thinking, of course, but they showed us that I could appreciate that character just couldn't see a way of change.
yeah.
Like, that's my whole goddamn identity. Now, I'm sure you
Not
know
only
this.
that, I mean, he comes home and his wife is
No,
having an
with
affair. I
another
mean,
guy
there's
who's
so
been in the
much that,
war,
yeah,
and
that he had to deal with. You know,
yeah, and
it's
this
tough.
is loosely based on Ron Kovic,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
who they would do Born on the Fourth of July with. Another movie I liked with I think
yeah.
with Tom Cruise, and you can tell, like, I had already seen that one, and so I'm like, yeah, all right, it's similar. That one I found harder to take.
I think when we look back, people remember Deer Hunter much
Yes,
more. Of course, Deer
yes,
Hunter won Best Picture over this, and big.
which
But
I
to
agree
me,
with.
uh, you know what? I'd have to see it again. My first instinct right now is I like Coming Home more, but I think it's because I just saw it again. Deer Hunter I haven't seen for years, but I mean, this is much more anti-Vietnam and much more about even these people did find purpose after the war, whereas the Deer Hunter is
Oh,
just
that's bleak.
total bleak and brutality, and also that they depicted the Vietnam
Oh
soldiers
God, it's awful. It's so
and
heavy.
that's not totally accurate. I mean, as just the total bad guys or villains, right? And I know Jane Fonda took issue with that as well, but she did recognize that Deer Hunter was a brilliant
Oh,
movie.
it's amazing. Even though it's bleak and everything, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
great. It's really good. But I love it. I'd watch it. I'd watch it again for sure. I think all the points I mentioned, there's more to discover about these people, and they stay with you. Like even the last couple of days, they just linger in you, like good performances and good characters in movies do for me. As to just thinking about their choices and why and stuff like that. So it's very stimulating in that sense. But no, I'm glad you liked it, and I'm glad you
Yeah, I
gave it a
really did.
5 out of 5.
I got it. Yeah.
I'm honored.
It is both a film and a movie
Just so the audience knows, it has to get at least an 8 out of 10
to qualify
to
as
get
both.
qualify as both. Anything under it, it's one or the other. So this one is both, according
Yep.
to us.
Yep.
And I
And
don't
we're
believe you can.
right.
Exactly, we are. We are the authority on this.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Again, if this is your first time here, or if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to our channel by clicking on the movie versus film logo, which you can find floating above my head to your top left, and then click the bell in order to get a notification every time we release a new video or go live. Thank you again. See you next time.